Hello.
Hello.
Let's see if I can do something with this lighting.
You said you're on holiday. Where are you?
I am in my Delaware home.
Ah,
Let me turn this one light out. I think that will help. Not really. Um, so my office isn't put together yet, so I'm in the living room. It's not bad.
okay,
Um,
okay,
but I had two houses, but we're actually moving up here to Delaware and getting rid of the
okay.
North Carolina house. So most likely you're going to see me here more so than the other place. But I need to get my
Fantastic.
stuff set up here because I only had like a little makeshift thing, and I got to get the whole office ready.
Ah, big,
So,
big, exciting changes.
yeah. What didn't we? Oh, there. How are you, Christine?
I'm really stressed out.
Oh no, why?
Just, I mean, my day since 7 a.m. has been meetings back to back, and I will stay that way till like 6 o'clock tonight. And last night I worked from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. And I just feel like
Wow.
frazzled.
Yeah.
And I normally don't do that. I'm just clearing stuff out to make more room for this course and coaching. So I've gotten rid of some
Mm.
other people that I used to volunteer for, and I'm just tying up loose ends. And so I know I forgot actually. No, I have meetings anyways. I feel frazzled, and literally the second we're done this meeting, I have to jump into another one, and it's like that the entire day. So I don't know. I just feel like overwhelmed, I guess.
Oh, well, maybe we
But
can.
it'll get better.
Good. Maybe we can just take some deep breaths and try to clear some of that frustration.
Yeah.
But I understand that. There's days I go back to back and um I don't listen to my own advice. I tell all my clients to make sure you have at least a half an hour in between sessions. And sometimes I don't listen to myself. So um but
Yeah.
yeah, I've been on calls all morning, so and I have two more after this one. So I get it. But there was some time in between them, so that I did listen to myself today. Um,
Yeah, I don't get that choice all the time with work because they kind of decide,
yeah.
you know, they go back to back, and that's why it'll be enjoyable when I'm not doing that anymore. And I just get to decide I'm going to give myself a buffer in between every single session.
There you go. I actually don't recommend that you do more than 4 a day either. I know some coaches want to go like, 6, 7 sessions a day, but that's a lot and you start to lose track of
No, I
things.
don't. I I want to enjoy life as well
Yeah.
and breathe. Breathing is amazing.
It is. All right. And then how about you, Rita? How are you doing?
There's a reason why you and we in this cohort together. I've been working the last 3 weeks. 6 o'clock, 5:30 I wake up. 6 o'clock I start to work, and then at 10 o'clock tonight I just close my office and just say, that's it, I can't do this anymore. So yes, I'm also have these tiny little meltdowns 100 times a day, but I'm exactly where you are, Christine, just focusing on the bitterness that's so close, just building the coaching practice and just stop and breathe with your clients. And it's it's so close. It's so close. Little bit of bravery still needed.
All right, cool. Well, I mean, let's just take some deep breaths and focus in. So the good thing is today, we're is the mentor coaching, so it's a little bit more relaxed than the classes. But before we start on that, is there any questions that you guys have on anything that we've covered so far?
No, not from my side. I think I'm getting slowly a hold, and Christine and I, we're meeting up Monday. So then we will page through things together and see how we can
Yes.
support each other a little bit more.
Great. So you guys will need to do 6 peer coaching. Yeah. So there's a log in the back of the assignment workbook. Just date, just put the log in there, the dates that you do those. But they're at your convenience.
Okay.
You just need 6 total. Okay. So today we're just going to talk through, I think we'll do that first. We'll listen to a recording. This is it is a recording that actually passes at the PCC level. And, I can give you a copy of this evaluation. Now this form's a little bit different. This is actually the scored form. So it's the form that we do for the final performance evaluations, but it has the same information on it. I'm going to show it to you. It's just format. Where is it? It's just formatted a little differently. Here it is. All right. So I'll show it to you real quick. And also my allergies are really bothering me today, so I apologize ahead of time for any coughing that I might have to do. Okay, so this is the evaluation form. And basically, just like on the other form, we don't assess 1 and 2, except that you're following, any ICF code of ethics that come up in the sessions and that you stay in a coaching role, which basically are the 2 things. This doesn't get assessed on here. It gets assessed on your written exam with the ICF. So this is the final performance evaluations that we do. And you can see it's the same information. It has the core competencies on the left, the PCC markers. And then is it observed? Consistently, you get 1 point. Occasionally, you get a half a point. Not observed, you get 0 points. And then we take from the transcripts to score you and give you feedback. So we're going to listen to the recording that this one goes with.
Okay.
And again, I'm just kind of showing you it's the same things. And then I'll show you this as well. So this shows us what has to be done in order to pass at each level of core competency. So this one, it says you have to earn at least 1 point between these 2 markers and 1 point between these 2 markers. I don't want you to pay attention to that too much because I don't want you to look at the technical end of it. We'll do the technical end.
Mm.
So don't pay too much attention to that. What you want to pay attention to is what is the coach doing and not doing, right? That's basically what you want to pay attention to. So don't worry about those things that you're going to see throughout this. And then I also want you to use your forms though and actually I might pull up the Word doc for this because I don't like scrolling through the PDF, but what I'd like you to do with your doc is while you're listening to the recording, Christine, if you could pay attention to core competency 3, and take notes, what you're observing and what you're not observing. And then Rita, I'm gonna give you I think 5, but let me maybe not 5. Let's see, I'm gonna give you we'll do 7. So you do 7, Rita. Christine, you do 3. And then you'll keep doing this throughout the course. Like next week. You guys are gonna coach each other, and Lori will share her feedback form to you, and she'll focus in on 2, basically. She'll get feedback on all of them, like light feedback, but there'll be 2 that she really focuses in on. Same thing with Holly or myself. And then whenever you listen to any other recordings, she'll do the same thing. The other instructors and myself will do the same thing. We'll assign you ones to really look at more so than the others. And then this way we start to dive deep into each competency. And especially on these mentor calls, which are just with me. I'm the only one that does the mentor calls. Nobody else does. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up the recording.
Just gonna say, give me just 30 seconds to just read through 7, make sure we pick up everything.
Yep. Let me just pull it up and I'll pause it real quick.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Lost the screen. Where is it? There it is. Okay. And here we go.
Hi, Janet.
Hi.
I am so delighted to be spending some time with you here today. And before we start, I would just like to do a little bit of housekeeping. Is that all right with you?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we have 30 minutes for this coaching session. So we'll have it, so my time, it's about 8:12 my time. And so it'll be around, 8:35 that we'll be ending this. And you're 3 hours ahead. So I guess that's 11:35 your time.
I'm just 2.
Oh, you're 2 hours. Okay, so 10:35. Okay. And then also to for the housekeeping, I'd like to cover, what your comfort level with challenge within the coaching session is.
I'm pretty comfortable with it being challenged because it helps me think about things in a different way. So yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with it. And if it's too much, I'll just tell you, nope.
Perfect.
Okay.
Wonderful. That's great. Thank you. And also too, I would like to, like mention, like, are you comfortable with me interrupting you if it feels like maybe the conversation's going off your topic?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
How would you like me to interrupt you? What would be the best way?
Just say something. I don't mind, if you overtalk me to redirect me because, yeah, I'm one of those, I've been told I ramble and I know I do. So it seems all important in my head, so it just comes out. So yeah, I'm just if you talk over me, it'll be fine and say, hey Janet, let's reassess or redirect. So
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. Okay, and so before we start, is there anything that you might need to address so that you are fully present here for your session here today?
I'm gonna take a drink as soon as I find it. And then I'll be ready to go.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. That's good that you take care of yourself. Um, what is really important for you to talk about today?
My sister's funeral is tomorrow, and I want to be comfortable going to the funeral, knowing that I can, how to say it, how that I'm doing what I need to do and how it affects everybody else in my family who can be quite judgmental and I don't know what they are, but well, I do know what they are, but um I want to, and even with my spouse, I want to be on an even keel and not let myself get so upset over things because I know I do that. Just and this is a tough situation, with my sister dying, and I just need to. I can rest when I have her in the vault. This is this is important, but I need to make sure my sister's in the vault so nobody else can hurt her. So, and I'm carrying all this tension with me in case, something goes wrong. I don't know what could go wrong at a funeral, but um, yeah, there's a lot of high tension. I call her husband exactly that, my sister's husband, because of various reasons. And well, I didn't even care enough to call to see if he's out of the hospital to go to my sister's funeral. So I need some techniques or I need to feel like capable. I am capable, but I don't want the tension to creep up and me have to take an anxiety pill or something. So I want to be self-aware, I guess. And like right now, the closer it gets to, the day of, I can feel that tension building up. And it would be nice to be able to be like even right now, maybe a 3 or 4, you know, that I have the confidence that I'm not going to tell my brother, sister's husband exactly what I think of him. And that's not productive for anybody. But I just want to be able to have some, like I said, some techniques or talk it through or examine it and why I feel that way. And so I can go in tomorrow feeling better and I'll know that, like I said, like right now I'm at a 3 on that feeling, 3, 4. And if I'm at a 6 or 7, I'll be fine with it.
Okay,
So
wow. Janet, you sure shared a whole lot there. And I would like to take this moment here, if it's okay with you, to um, to reflect back and to offer an observation. Is that all right with you?
Yes.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is that you're going to have to go to this funeral of your sister's, and you have this buildup of this, like it feels to me like an anticipation of something going wrong, you know, during this burial of your sister. And um, you, can't trust yourself with her husband, your brother-in-law, because you have some deep feelings there that you might want to express. And so you want to be able to go in there feeling even keeled. And so what I observed was you mentioned that this was really important. And when you said that, your voice cracked just a little bit. And it seemed like there was a bit of an energy shift there. Was that a correct observation?
Yes, it was. Because I just want my sister to have a nice funeral, and she's free from pain now, but to be protected from any other harm. I don't want any bad vibes at the funeral, out of respect for her. That is what she deserves. And I'm worried that I'm going to bring a bad vibe in myself, and I don't want to do that. So that's probably what you heard was right there, that I'm worried I'm going to be the one doing it. So
You mentioned even keel. What does that mean to you?
even killed that I'm aware of what I'm feeling, and that I can recognize the emotions and accept that just because they're there, I do not have to act on them. I can, honor my feelings, but respect my sister at the same time, kind of thing. So it's just maintaining control to me is even, I'm going to cry, but that's different than what I'm talking about, but, so I can maintain a presence, or, yeah, that's just even, not too high in emotion, but not showing no emotion at all. Because I want to be in the middle. I like that middle ground. So, and even kills that middle ground. So
What would you like to walk away with by the end of this session?
I would like to walk away with the knowledge that I am capable of doing this, which is my thing. You can't do that for me. I realize that, but and maybe some sort of understanding that will stick with me of why I don't have to act on my feelings, why it's okay to have them, but I don't have to express them at this point in time at the funeral. I can do that later, at a later time, if I ever see the man again. And he's the only, well, some of my sisters, two of my sisters are there too, and I have this little need to always get their approval. So I don't want to do that either. I just want to be comfortable in myself and do my thing, which would be even killed, So all these little family problems coming in. I've been working on them, but not with the people in the room. So I have to watch my behaviors that I don't slip back into behaviors I no longer want to do. So,
Okay. So just so that I'm clear, you also mentioned earlier that you were 3 or 4 with your confidence level and that you would like to come away with being around an 8. Was that correct in hearing that?
I'll be good with a 6 or 7. 8 would be awesome. I mean, if I could come just, yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay. And you just mentioned also too, just being able to, come away with a better understanding of your control of your emotions. Is that correct? Did I have that right? Or
Well, yeah, because I'm in a point in my life where this is gonna sound weird, but I am now just learning to express emotions and to be able to recognize them because I've always stuffed them or whatever. So I'm at this very tenuous stage, needless to say, where that because I'm just learning about them, I want to act on them. But I also need to learn that sometimes it's not okay to do that, depending on the circumstances. And does that, yeah, I was going to ask you if that makes sense, but I think it did, so I don't need. So
so what's
that's
that? What's that questioning about yourself all about?
um just my upbringing and my life up to when I was 50 and dealing with my siblings and everything. I've always tried to be like, I want them to like me because I never felt they liked me when I was growing up. And they all like excluded me. And so I overextend on trying to belong or get them to include me and stuff. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to have that feeling that that I need to belong, you know, that, yeah, along those lines. Because I know that I don't need that. Because I mean, I'm good just as I am. And it's their problem if they can't reach out to me, not mine. So, which is part of the tension, I guess, all this family stuff.
Yeah. When thinking about going to your sister's funeral and what you just shared right now about how you question yourself and it's based upon, wanting to belong, like have your siblings accept you. Is there a connection with this?
Um, I think so, in that Shirley always supported me, and she's the one that passed away. She always supported me, and did not do that what the others did. I chose to break away from her for um just her spouse and things that he did, and she did not stand up for her children. So, but she was always loving and everything whenever we would see each other and everything. And I have a special bond with this sister, whereas I don't with my others that are going the two that are going to be there that are still alive, you know. So I just so I feel like I owe it to her to maintain myself. And I don't know, that doesn't seem to coincide though with what I thought it was. That I don't want to. I am of the belief that in spirit she will still be there. She is still with us and stuff. So, and I don't want her to be upset at anything I do. And that would be you not being myself. Because she was, she was supportive of me doing my own thing, of going to college, of, anything I was interested in doing. She was supportive of that. And I just want to, I don't know, support her by and respect her by being able to act appropriately. Not the way that I feel like I should, but to act appropriately, be myself to honor her kind of thing.
Okay. So, may I share a perspective?
Yes, please.
I'm just wondering if there's a conflict within being yourself and acting appropriately.
There may be, because I like to, now I like to tell people as it is, as I'm, tactfully, hopefully, not always, but, that I don't want to have to withhold my emotions in order to be nice to my brother. And that I feel that's childish, but I've held it in for so long, and my sister's no longer alive. But out of respect for her, I need to. And her boys will be there too, so I don't want, they don't need to know how much I dislike their father. So,
May I offer, I'd like, to invite you to do a bit of a visionary activity here.
cool, yeah.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, just closing your eyes just for a second, and I invite you just to take a couple deep breaths.
Okay.
Okay. And so now, just when you're visioning, preparing for this day to meet with these people at this funeral, what would your authentic person bring to this day?
It would bring a weariness that I feel with my family. I think just greet them, tell them hi, I love them because I do love them, and just, I don't know. I want to interact with them, but only so far because you know, they've hurt me too much. So I don't want to be fake. I just want to be able to interact with them and not get caught up in whatever they're going to be caught up in tomorrow. And that's just, I just want to be able to breathe, say goodbye to my sister in her human form, and be at peace. Then I know that she's at peace finally. and there's no more I can do to help her. That's what I want. I just want it to be peaceful and no drama. Which is that's the authentic me. I don't like drama. I don't like gossip. I don't like all that stuff. So just to honor who I am by not participating in things that I don't want to.
What might you need to let go of in order to show up with your family there so that you're at peace?
I really think I need to let go of my anger at all of them. You know, past, present, future of things I know that they will do. And that I shouldn't be thinking that I know what they're going to do, but based on past behavior, you know, because they'll be just to let go of expectations, of any expectations of anything to do with them. That's what I need to let go of.
What would
Because
that, oh,
no, I know, yeah, I was just going to kind of ramble on about, no expectations and stuff. So thank you for stopping me on that because it's not productive.
yeah. So what might that do for you to enter in with no expectations and to let go of your anger?
I think I can be at ease. I cannot have to worry that I'm going to lose it with my brother-in-law. That I can respect my sister, make sure she's put to rest in a way that I see fit because I've been protecting her since I was like in 10th grade, just this one final act in her honor. And then I can let that go. I can let that go. So, and I just went to, you can't enjoy a funeral, but you cannot dread it too. So I don't want to dread going to my sister's to have to mingle with my family. I just want to be there for my sister that died, not the other two.
Yeah. You've shared a lot about your feelings, around anger with your family. I just want to check in with you. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I think it helps to talk about them because when I verbalize it, it kind of is like a release for me. So I just, yeah, I can feel like the tension going down. So that's good. That, I realize now what I want because before all I could think of, I just don't want to be what they want me to be. I want to be myself. And it's more deeper than that, I think, than I thought at first. So I just went to go there and do my thing and spend time with my family because I do love them, no matter how oddball or whatever word you want to use about them. They are dysfunctional. Dysfunctional. That's the word for them. You know, just enjoy having their company, but have no expectations for the future. So I don't get hurt, because it is hurtful. You put, and it's not worth it anymore.
Sounds like this has been something you've been carrying around with you for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to acknowledge you for sharing that here today. And I do want you to know that, with me being here, being quiet, that is my way of holding space for you. And, you mentioned that you realized it was something deeper. With that realization, how does that affect you?
Actually, it makes me calmer because I know what it is. I know what I need to do, not entirely, but now I've got a better idea of what mindset, frame of mind, however I choose to put it when I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
Just what mindset I need to be in. And it's not dependent on them. It doesn't have to be dependent on them. They should expect nothing from me. I mean,
So what is that mindset that you have going forward?
that um, I just need to be me, that I'm a good person, and if they want a relationship after this, there are no expectations of that on my part. That it's probably going to be the next funeral before we see each other, if whatever. But I not to have any expectations feels really good.
And what does that do for you?
That circular thinking, but it puts me in a better mindset.
Yeah. And so when you are in a better mindset, how might that affect your emotions and the tension in your body?
I can let go of the tension because I'm not trying to hold it in, trying to keep it under control. And with yeah, just realizing that I don't, they have no right to have any expectations whatsoever on me. And I can just be myself. And if they don't like it, they don't have to talk to me.
Hmm. And how does
So
that feel to say that out loud?
that feels good, actually. That
Yeah.
feels good.
Yeah. It looked to me like I was observing some relief there with your laughter. Was that correct?
That is correct. Yes. Because, yeah, and I'm not even so worried about spouting off of my brother-in-law now. So the time will come. The time will come. I just have to wait for it to present itself. So,
So at the beginning, you mentioned that you wanted to, go from a 3, 3, 4 to like a 6 is what I think you mentioned. How are you doing on that right now?
I'm doing really good. I think I'm like at a 7 one day. So that is, I feel just so much better and more relieved and less tense. That I was open enough that we could dig into it and figure out what it was, actually what it was, instead of, the surface stuff. So that was really helpful to do that.
How are you going to take this information moving forward into your daily routine?
I think I will apply it to my spouse and to my family that resides with us, and that I can be myself. you know, and if they don't like me, they can not come into my space. Childish saying, you know, stay out of my space. It's mine.
Yeah. How does that feel to say that?
That's nice to
Yeah.
realize that I really do have my own space.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
do want to, recognize you and acknowledge you for the work that you've done to put yourself as a priority. We're coming down to a crunch here. And so, what I'd like to ask you are, um, what considerations might you have to think about in executing your plan moving forward with being at peace?
I need to recognize and explore those feelings when I'm feeling that way and know that it's not surface. That I need to go deeper to figure out the real meaning, you know. And then that's going to make everything else easier once I figure that out. It will be a good step to do just in regards to anything. I mean, you know,
Okay. Um, what would be the best way for you to be supported?
um, just I think having a talk with my spouse and just trying to explain to him how I feel. So he doesn't base it on past reactions or, you know, think I'm upset because I'm a certain way. I just need his support in letting me be me and not worry about it because I'm okay.
And how
So
are you feeling about your accomplishments here today?
I'm feeling pretty good. Sorry, I'm feeling pretty good. So
Wonderful.
yes, thank you.
Um, Before leaving here today, what might you need to express so that you can leave here feeling settled and ready to transition into the world?
So I'm gonna tell myself that I do matter and that I do know what I need and it's okay.
Telling yourself that you do matter.
Yeah, yeah. I got my tattoo right here. I am enough, right on my arm. So I always know that. So
Okay, and so what else might we need to address before we stop our session?
no, um, I think I'm good. I think we addressed even the subconscious things that were, you know, taking place in my mind. Yeah, that's what it is. Mind. So
Well, I want to acknowledge you for showing up for yourself here today, Janet. And it was a real pleasure being here with you. Shall we end our session on that note?
yes, I think that's a good plan.
Okay. Well, looking forward to next time, Janet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye bye.
Okay.
You're
Okay,
on mute, Cheryl.
there we go. Huh. All right. So thoughts before we go into the competencies.
That is why I go into coaching. This session. This is why you coach.
was a good session.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Um, and I would just want to say that Kim, the coach here, at the beginning of the course was doing, 45 to 50-minute sessions, even an hour, because she couldn't get like the agreement really clear. She couldn't have her questions weren't really succinct. And she was doing more of the talking, or probably equal talking to the client's equal. So they were like about 50-50, sometimes 40-60. But so this was so great to see her growth throughout the course. Now she was already a coach, but she just hadn't done it for years. So yeah, when she got back, it was just like, she knew the basics. She was like, she was never coaching before. So it was really cool to see that progress. Okay. So let's look at 3 first. Rita, tell me what you observed for the markers.
Me or Rita?
Who had 3?
I had 3.
Oh, Christine, sorry.
I was waiting for Rita to answer you, and I thought maybe she made a mistake there. Um, so for the markers, yes, 3.1, she does ask what is important for her to talk about today. She does reconfirm. She does go back and say, this is what I'm understanding that you want to talk about. The measure of success, the 3.2, I found that interesting because it didn't happen for quite a while. I noticed that the client was the one who originally shared her measure of success. She just offered it. And then later on, the coach went back and she confirmed that and made sure that she had a clear understanding of what that measure of success would look like for her. So the coach did also address it, even though it was discussed initially by the client. I did not grasp the importance / meaning aspect. I didn't see 3.3. So I'm curious to see what I missed there. And then the 3.4 needs to address, I saw that, what do you want to walk away with by the end of the session? And, talking about a better understanding of her emotions. And she clarified there, in the form of feedback, what that looked like. So yeah, I saw that there too. One thing I did want to check though with you, I liked in the very beginning when she asked about her comfort level with being challenged and how to interrupt if required. I'm not sure if that falls in any of these markers. And there was another one asked if there's anything that needs to be addressed before the session starts. So where do those things fall in the markers, if anywhere?
Yeah, so they're not really, there's not a specific marker for those, but they are, well, I shouldn't say that. They probably go more towards awareness using the clients. It'll be 7.
Mm.
Let me get there.
Mm.
But
Yeah, I agree
yeah,
with you, Cheryl, because that was the thing that I wrote up immediately. Coach asks questions about the client's current way of thinking,
yeah,
feeling. Yeah.
yeah. So 7.1 and the open-ended, she asked open-ended questions, clear, direct. So those, those questions are examples to that. And then also let's see, when is it? It would be in 5. Curiosity about the client. 5.4.
Okay.
Which she
Okay.
did throughout the whole session.
Mhm.
So so it's not specific where you have to, where it's saying, ask this type of a question before you get started, but it's demonstrated in those competencies.
Okay. And where was 3.3?
It wasn't. She didn't demonstrate it.
Oh, okay. So I did not miss that. I was like waiting
No.
for that, going, okay, what did I miss there? Okay.
No, she didn't observe, she didn't do 3.3, and she actually didn't do 3.54 either, but I'm going to talk about that because there's a misconception
Okay.
there.
All
So
right.
let's go through it. I'll share my screen for 3. Okay. So partners with the client to identify or reconfirm what the client wants to accomplish in the session. There was a lot here. What's really important for you to talk about today? What would you like to walk away with by the end of the session? Just so I'm clear. You also mentioned yada, yada, yada. Would you like to come away with being around an 8? Was that correct? You mentioned being able to come away with a better understanding. Is that correct? Do I have that right? So these, 5 different areas are really going towards 3.1. But consider that instead of saying talk, what would you like to talk about? That language is very vague, really. You want to get a little bit clearer on like, what do they want to focus on? What do they want to work on? Talk about could be anything, right? It's not like a goal or a focus for the session. It's more like you're saying, well, what would you like to talk about? Well, they could want to talk about the weather or, last night playing with the kids, something happened. You know what I mean? Like it just invites, we call it storytelling. It invites storytelling. And the thing that we don't need as coaches, and you're going to learn, hopefully you are going to learn it. And then I feel like for a lot of coaches, it's new, is that we don't need backstory. We don't need the story to have a successful session. And in fact, the story can detract and distract from the point of the coaching session. So we don't want the stories. We don't even want the backstory. We don't need that a lot of the information that we ask for. And so we want to become really succinct in what we ask. So basically here we're saying, invite the client to be very specific about what they want to focus on or work on in the session. What's the work we're going to be doing in our time together. And then coach says, oh, so there's a point where the coach says, wow, Janet, you sure share a lot here. Because even though this is another coach, she did go into storytelling, right? She was giving a whole lot of information at the beginning that Kim didn't need to coach the session. And that the client probably didn't need to share all of it. Now you're going to have clients that do that. So that's not, it's not terrible, but just giving you a little bit perspective. And then regarding the outcome, the client is very specific. She says it, like you said, up front. She wanted more confidence. She had her own numbered scale. She didn't have to be asked for it or prompted. But she also says, I would like to walk away with the knowledge that I am capable of doing this. And that was not explored. So we want to be careful that we don't miss things, right? So this was something where you could say the coach led a little bit. It was an oversight, but in that oversight, the coach led a little bit by choosing the first thing that the client said and not exploring the second thing. Now, they could have worked together to be one thing, but there was no mention of it. So, be just kind of being more open about what you're hearing and exploring it a little. And then so again, the coach kind of decided. So instead of being collaborative, the coach kind of leads a little and makes the decision to go with the confidence. Okay. And then partners with the client to define or reconfirm measures of success. So the coach says, you also mentioned that there were 3 or 4. You're at a 3 or 4. You'd like to come away with being around an 8. Was that correct in hearing that? So that was the measurement. Now, when we say things like that, was I correct? Was that correct? Just so I'm clear, we're putting the focus on us. Where we really want to do is put the focus on the client. So instead of saying, just so I'm clear, you could say, you mentioned, you don't need to say that part, right? Just cut it off and say, you mentioned earlier that you were at a 3 or 4 and you'd like to come around, you would like to walk away with an 8. Is that accurate? Like, take the I out of it, take the me part, the coach part, and put it back onto the client. So the example here is just for clarification. You're currently at a 3 or 4, and by the end of the session, you'd like to be around an 8. How accurate does that sound to you? Or how accurate is that? And then kind of what we've already said for 3.1. So does that make sense? We're taking it off of ourselves. We want the client to be clear, not necessarily, I mean, obviously we're going to be clear as well, but we want to put the emphasis so the client always considers their clarity and not ours. Okay, and then 3.3 and 3.4 was not demonstrated. And I'm going to go over these others, but I want to go down to 7 first, and well, I'm not going to do it here yet because I want to hear Rita's before we. I'm going to stop sharing that. So go ahead, Rita. Tell me what you saw in 7.
So the awareness part, I felt she did really well. She really used with like, could we address something when she wanted to come back to the current situation. She observed the cracked voice, and which I think is also a way of solidifying the current situation. And then she reflected, and the wording that she used was the anticipation. That I almost missed. And when she said, the reflection is the anticipation, and that you can't trust yourself. So it almost brought the thing that wasn't said straightforward. She managed to get between the lines, I felt. She definitely coached the who. So phrases she was using was questioning yourself about. What are you questioning yourself about? I just wrote little pieces of the question. I couldn't get the whole question every time. The who, she also said, what would your authentic person bring? What would that do for you if you could let go? And then I felt the comment where she said there was a lot of feelings. And just by saying, I want to check in with you. How are you doing? I felt again, brought it back to the who and where are we with you. Also, when she asked, what does it do for you? I felt again, she brought it back to the who. The what, I really felt that understanding, I could resonate with that. So is there connection in this? Is there a connection between I think it was a feeling of, no, I can't remember now. May I share my perspective about being myself and act appropriately? That was the what I felt she got hold of. What might you need to let go of? And then the client could say anger. which I felt was a big release point for the client. Again, at some point, she brought it back the what to mindset. And when she pertinently asked the question about mindset, it brought clarity to the client, because then the client had the opportunity to literally name the two things that she felt this new mindset will bring to her. I felt it was almost like a definitive, this is what the mindset is, what it means. Also, I think it was very clever when she said, what happens with your tension in your body, if we discuss the mindset? And she could feel the release in herself. I wrote a lot. Desire. Let's move on to the desires, the client's desires. Yeah, I definitely felt with the even kill, I also wondered what was that about, and she clarified it beautifully. And in the end, that brought the desire, what this client really wants. It really brought it up to the surface for me. What would you like to walk away with? Again, the scale came into play. And then right at the end, she again checked in with the scale. So I think she really connected what this client desires beautifully. I love the way, I think we're now at 7.5. I really, really liked the invitation. She was very patient. And I felt it was so respectful when she said, with me being quiet over here, I'm holding space for you. And it's almost like giving the client the permission to take the space for herself. To say, this is your space. It's yours. I really felt it was a beautiful moment. Interesting enough, the client said a couple of times, I know what to do. And I was very curious. I thought to myself, if you know what to do, what is it? I think my curiosity might got better of me there. I might have asked her, tell me what do you, but I felt she had this very strong idea, a behavior idea. I'm going to yell, or I'm going to cry, or I'm just going to walk away. I'm not sure if I'm too curious there, Cheryl, or yeah, that was interesting. I also felt it was a beautiful moment when the client spoke. There was this definite shift of relief, and the coach gave a very safe, not giggle, but laughter type of thing. And I felt that acknowledged the client that I get it. You know, I've got it. I feel you. Open-ended questions. Literally, I tried to count. I think there was 2 or 3 yes or no questions. That's it. The rest was all open-ended. I felt they were really well structured. Clear language. I mean, she came back when she wasn't quite sure what the client felt even kill meant. And something that I realized tonight, once again, if we have clear, concise questions, it actually gives the client the opportunity to go deeper, because they don't have to think about heavy worded questions and trying to uncipher my question. We just get down to business and give them the microscope and say, here we go. So it's something for me to really remind myself. The interruption twice, I felt was very conducive. I think they were definitely necessary. And they should definitely use that moment of interruption to solidify a very important moment. And although she didn't, for me, it felt like a moment of celebration, of saying that that's what's going on, yeah. And I definitely think she met the 80-20 ratio. Yeah.
Okay. Great. That was great observations. Thank you for that. And let's go through it. So yeah, the coach does well. It's observed consistently, asking questions about the client's current way of thinking, feeling, values, needs, wants, or beliefs or behavior. And there's some examples here. I'm not going to read all these examples, but I'm so delighted to be speaking with you. Is it all right with you? I'd like to do a little bit of housekeeping. How would you like me to interrupt you? What would be the best way? You mentioned even keel. What does that mean to you? You've shared a lot of your feelings with around anger. I want to check in. How are you doing? So lots of great questions there. And then exploring about beyond the client's current thinking or feeling. So what's that questioning about yourself when thinking about going to your sister's funeral and what you shared right now? Have your siblings accept you? Is there a connection with that? So she saw a connection. She wanted to explore it with the client. When you're visioning with these people at the funeral, what would your authentic person bring to this day? And then she does some acknowledging. It sounds like this has been something you've been carrying around with you. I'd like to acknowledge you for sharing that here. With that realization, how does that affect you? What does that do for you? How might that affect your emotions and the tension in your body? So lots of great exploring questions. And then asks about current ways of thinking or feeling. So when thinking about that, is there a connection when you're visioning? What would your authentic self bring? So, oh, by the way, so these examples can be for more than one marker. How does that feel to say that out loud? Ask questions to explore beyond the client's current thinking or feeling. What is that mindset that you have going forward? What does that do for you when you are in a better mindset? How might that affect your emotions? What considerations might you have to think about in executing your plan moving forward? So again, lots of great open-ended questions for those markers. And then here, these two are somewhats. So they're not, she didn't get full points. So shares with no attachment, observations, intuition, comments, thoughts, or feelings. So here the clients or the coach says, you mentioned even keel. What does that mean? May I share a perspective? I'm wondering if there's a conflict. You shared a lot. How are you doing? I'd like to acknowledge for you for sharing today with that realization. How does that affect you? So these are some examples, but they're not perfect examples. So in order to see how this could be better and so that it fully serves the marker, whenever we share an observation, first of all, we always invite the client to respond or explore with questions rather than checking for accuracy. So we're going to go to 4.4 so you can, sometimes this is hard to see the connections, but oh, there it is. So by saying, is that correct? We're actually leading the client to respond in a certain way. So this can really, it really points it towards us. It's kind of like wanting to validate what we're saying. And yes, we have to check for accuracy, but it's really to check for the client's accuracy, to check for the client's idea of, what's clear or what's not clear, rather than on us. So there's other ways to invite. How does that resonate with you? What would you add or subtract from what I've heard? Or you could do something like, what connection might there be, if any, using the if any. So this way that it opens it up so the client can respond however they want instead of responding to tell us that we understand. Does that make sense? We're checking in with the client and having them expand on their own thoughts, clarity, awareness, and not having them voice an opinion on ours. So that's one thing. And then the other one was 6. What was the other one? 6. 6.4. So if we look at 6.4, which we have a lot, coach explores the client's energy shifts, nonverbal cues, or other behaviors. This is also a somewhat. And so the coach does observe about shifts, but it shows a little, the way she does it shows a little bit of attachment to her own observation, which we've already, I've already explored in the other competency, which is like, was that correct? So for 6.4, it's really important for the coach to explore energy shifts and exploring them versus just making an observation. So, so you might say something like, I noticed some laughter just now. What does that represent? Or what did that mean? What's coming up for you now? Instead of saying, what she said was, I heard laughter to mean yada, yada. And so she named what it meant and then asked for is that correct? So there's no reason to do that, right? We want to explore what did the client mean, not put into the mind of the client what we think it meant. So it's leading really, and not really exploring what the client, what it means for the client. We're really stating what we think it meant and then asking the client to validate what we thought. So it's just a little shift. So explore, ask the question versus stating what you think it is and then asking the client to validate that. That is what will build up on 7, and especially 7.4 and 7.5. Now, 7.6, open, clear, direct questions, one at a time, pace, yada, yada. So open-ended, there's all kinds of examples of open-ended, and then there's some close-ended, which is about 10. And then 2 times she stacked questions, and then kind of indirect statements, which really didn't need to be said. There's 3. So there's approximately 35 moments in which the coach asks or attempts a question. And among those, 57% were open-ended and roughly 43% were closed, leading, stacked, or indirect. Now it's not a terrible ratio, by the way. I mean, it's not where we want it to be, but it's not a terrible ratio. Like that would not be a pass for like an MCC, right? You wouldn't be able to do that for an MCC level. But we want to ask those open-ended questions versus yes or no. And then here's a good example. How does that resonate with you? What might you need to address, if any, to fully engage in our session? So these are things that are actually done well out of the open-ended questions. And then language is generally clear and concise. She did that, mainly throughout the session. There's a note here just that the coach pauses between some random words when responding. And this can give off a vibe of like the coach isn't sure, they're unsure. And so they're being really cautious. Or they're in their head too much. They're just thinking too much. And so we kind of chalked this up to that the coach was nervous because they knew they were recording for their final performance evaluation, and that can come across in a recording. So, and that's okay. And then, yeah, she used several times. And just those examples that we already covered in 6.6 would take care of that instead of saying, and then the coach allows the client to do most of the talking. So the ICF actually doesn't give us a specific ratio. We use the 80-20 rule, which comes from the Pareto principle, which says that for many outcomes, roughly 80% of the consequences come from 20% of the causes. So 80% is the client's outcomes and 20% is the coach's contribution. So that's where we got the 80-20 rule for coaching. It actually didn't come from the ICF. This is what the ICF says, that we allow the client to do most of the talking. So, so that's where we as mentors and coaches in general talk about the 80-20 rule. But in this case, it was a good mix. The coach did 72% and the client did 72% and the coach did 28%. This is appropriate, basically. Now there was a couple things that could have been eliminated, which would have probably brought that to an 80-20. So that keeping at the beginning really didn't need to be said. Some coaches like to check on previous, sessions outcomes, and that's why I have that in the model that you can check back, but you want to do it very quickly and succinctly. You don't want to make it a big part of the session. And typically you're only going to do that with clients that typically don't follow through. So if you have clients that aren't following through with their plans and you need to give them a little bit more accountability, that's a great way to do it. But it's not necessary. And you have to make up for it somehow by letting the client do more of the talking. Okay. So that was, and actually we covered the more important ones of the others, but except for 5. So let's look at 5. So, she'd actually did really well with acting in response to the whole of the person. I'm not going to read through these, but there's lots here that she makes, with her questions, that she makes the client become, more aware and, explore more. And the growth opportunity so here were the positive examples. And then the growth opportunity, we said, the client or the coach says, what would you like to walk away with by the end of the session? And, we're saying here that it was asked after the client shared some personal details. So what happened was, it looks like she brushed over what the client shared and went right to what's the outcome, basically. So you have to be careful of that. We want to make sure that we're acknowledging what the client is sharing, their feelings, exploring it if it's necessary. And then if you have to ask, go back and ask a question about the outcome, then she could have done that. But presence means not missing those moments, basically. She definitely responded to the what. Partnered with the client somewhat throughout the session by supporting them to choose what happens in the session. So we did talk about that already. She basically chose what to focus in on by not exploring that other piece that the client mentioned. And we just have to be careful of those things, not to miss those things. And there's a lot on this growth opportunities. And so I'm going to actually put this into this document into the chat so you guys can download it and just kind of read through this feedback. Here demonstrates curiosity. She did that wonderfully throughout the whole session, and then allows for science, pause, or reflection. And we gave lots of examples here. And then here, when the client requests time to find her drink, consider utilizing silence more fully instead of responding with okay. Kind of, just evaluate whether the client's comment really needs a response. You can just be silent in that moment, right? Now it didn't disrupt the session, but sometimes it can, depending on what you say. It can cause a distraction, and then you could get caught in, even if it's only 2 or 3 minutes, you can get caught in a different line of discussion before you have to now bring everything back to today's session. So you have to watch. This is all going towards watching what you do in the beginning of the session so that it's not detracting from, what the client wants to focus on that session. So listen actively does really well. Especially with questions and observations that are customized. So there was nothing really generic in any of the questions that she asked. So they were totally related to the client and the client's thoughts, feelings, situation, and outcome that the client wanted. Definitely explored the client's words when she asked, what does even keel mean? Or what does it mean to her? Explored emotions, lots of examples there. And then for energy shifts, nonverbal cues, we put somewhat, there was, where is it? Well, we talked about that 6.4. So here is again, what I said earlier. So don't try to interpret what that shift means. So instead of saying that her voice cracking seemed like a shift, ask a question. So something like, you mentioned that it's really important. And when you said your voice cracked a little bit, what meaning, did that have for you? Or, yeah, I noticed some laughter just now. What does that represent? What's coming up for you? So again, keeping our observations, to more about exploring than either trying to identify what it is, like guessing at it. Because that's trying to show our skill in the session. It's not really putting it onto the client. And then if we go down to 8, invites or allows the client to explore progress. She did that. Something that, seems awkward, but something that we should get used to. At the beginning, you mentioned that you wanted to go from 3 to 4 to a 6. How are you doing on that right now? And that's just something very easy you can do. At the beginning, you wanted to, move towards yada, yada. How are you doing so far? Where are you at right now? What progress have you made towards that? And then inviting them to explore new learning. What is the mindset that you have going forward? But a really great way to do that right now is just to ask that question. What have you learned about yourself in today's session so far? It's an easy question to cover that. And then here, how are you feeling about your accomplishments? We did this somewhat because we want something more specific. So asking how the client feels about their accomplishments could be pretty generic. And so we want to be a little bit more specific, and it could be something like, how are you feeling when the client said, I forget the exact phrase she used, but she was stating that the shift, really, it was about a shift, about how she was feeling. So instead of saying, how are you feeling about your accomplishments here today? Again, you could say something like, how does that feeling affect your overall well-being right now? Or how does that feeling help you to move forward with, the outcome that you wanted today? So just tying it into what the client wanted versus just a how are you feeling about it type question. Did ask how she was going to use that information going forward. And then post-session thinking. So what might you need to let go of in order to show up for your family? What might that do for you to enter with no expectations? And then what is the mindset that you have going forward? So those are all great examples. And then partners with the client to consider how to move forward with post-session activities. So what does that do for you? What would be the best way for you to be supported? Both good questions for that. Did not talk about accountability. how will you make sure that that's how you show up? What are you going to do to ensure that, you're in that mindset going into the funeral or whatever, some kind of a question like that. Did celebrate progress to a certain extent, recognize you and acknowledge you for the work that you've done. And then I want to acknowledge you for showing up for yourself here today. So just something, this was just kind of a little note of being a little bit more personalized. So saying things like the specific growth, like, in the beginning you sounded unsure about being able to actually be calm and be focused in on giving your daughter, your sister's funeral, your focus and yada, yada. And now you are, and then say what you're seeing. So you're actually going to say what the progress that you see. Like, how did she show up for her session? How did it benefit her? And then partners with the client on how the client wants to complete the session. So before leaving today, what might you need to express so that you can leave here feeling settled? What else might you need? I want to acknowledge you for showing up. Should we end our session on that note? So we're leaving it up to the client to close that session. Okay. Then here's our evaluation. Establish and maintains agreements. She received 2 points. Cultivates trust and safety, 4 points. Maintains presence, 4.5. Listens actively, 6. Evokes awareness, 7. Facilitates client growth, 9. So you can see here what the total was that you could get, the potential. And so shown throughout the session, 27 points. Sometimes in the session is 3.5. And then 3 that she didn't do any of, which these are low. That's low. So total points was 30.5. So it was a very well done session. Questions about the review part? Comments?
Well, I have a
You
question.
guys,
Yep.
Sorry. Do we have somewhere what the markers are required for ACC, PCC, and MCC?
So the ACC minimum skill requirements are actually in the drive for you to download. And the PCC
Okay.
markers are there as well.
Okay.
But also the form that I'm going to give you, that is the PCC markers.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put that into the chat
Okay.
for you to download. These are confidential, by the way. Please don't share with anyone.
Well, no one else paid for the course, so I'm not
That's
giving
right.
anyone anything for free that I've paid for.
Well, plus
They can
this,
pay for it themselves.
plus this formula, this form, and what we're doing is actually kind of revolutionary in the ICF. So we're one of the first schools to do it this way. And so we want to make sure that we're not allowing other schools to copy from us. They can figure it out for themselves. I shouldn't say that. I mean, we're collaborative too. If somebody wanted to know how we did it, we would definitely talk through it. But, I don't want them to have my forms and stuff. Um, let's see. And I believe this is it. Quick look. Yes, it is. You see it in the chat?
Yes, thank
Yes.
you.
Okay. All right. So, so for purposes of this course, you would, that form, you would want to get, 20 point, did I say 20? I think I said 20. Let me pull it up. There's 17 that you have to have, and then we want you to strive for the 20 basically, for ACC, and then, PCC, you want to aim for 27, but, you need 23 to pass. We say 27, aim for those numbers just to get you used to doing more, because of those things that I said at the bottom, like you have to have 3.1 and you have to have 3.2. And, you know, all those have those must-haves. So if you're aiming for higher number of competencies shown, then, you know, then it's easier to make sure that those are met too.
Mm.
Okay. So, we have about 20 minutes left. So I'm just going to talk through the level 1, the credentialing, process from the ICF side for both of you, but I need, Rena's, I'm going to need some more clarity on, but like for you, Christine, so, well, for both of you throughout the course, you have to have 5 observed sessions. 3 of those sessions have to be written observed. So you will get, those observed sessions between the in-class coaching and the recordings that you submit for me for your mentor coaching. And then in addition to those 3 written, you also need the final performance evaluation and to pass it. So that is the last, I'm sorry, that is, yeah, the last class is your final performance evaluation. So that actually makes it 4 written observations that you get. And then the other 2 are verbal. So in the last class, what happens is you guys go off, you record your sessions, you coach each other, you record them separately on your computers, which you can do through Zoom. And then I give you a form and you submit your recording with that form. You also have to submit a transcription. If you don't want to do the transcription yourself, we do transcriptions, $25 for a 30-minute. There's a link there for you to pay it. And then what happens is we review that final performance evaluation and you get the feedback in your second one-on-one. Second one-on-one. I gotta look at your individual schedules. Let's see. Oh no, sorry, it'll be your third one-on-one. So you get the feedback in your third one-on-one. But because you're getting 3 written ones before then, that should be a no-brainer. Now, if for some reason you don't pass that final performance evaluation, you can make it up. You have one more opportunity with the third recording to send to us. Throughout the whole course, you're actually sending 3 recordings. Your first recording for both of you is due to me by the end of week August of the August 27th week. So before 29, 30th, before the 30th of August, you need to send me your first recording. And then, oh wait, I'm sorry. By the 23rd, you have to send me your first recording. And then the week of the 27th is our first one-on-one mentoring. And that's where you're going to get the written feedback on that first recording. Let me say that again, because I said the wrong dates. By August 23rd, I need your first recordings. And then we have our mentoring, our first one-on-one mentoring the week of August 27th. Now, with that said, I will say the following week, we don't have class the week of the holiday. So if for some reason you can't get me that recording by the 23rd, I will extend it till 27th, 28th to give me the recording. And then we'll meet that following week because I'm not trying to rush anybody either. But we have that time because we have the holiday week off.
Mhm.
And then we will go over it in our one-on-one, go over the feedback in the one-on-one. Questions about what I just said? Go ahead, Christine.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my schedule quickly. Because I'm going to be away.
I think,
Sorry.
the last I heard you said I'm going to be away.
Yeah, sorry, I lost my internet for a minute there. Yeah, I'm just looking because I'm going to be away. And I mean, I'm going to bring my Starlink with me. But when it comes to the 20th, I leave on the 20th. What day is it today? So basically, I have to have a coaching session into you next week, is what you're saying.
By the end of the week. Or like I said, if you want to do, well, if you're leaving the 20th, then if you can do it when you get back in the first part of the week, that's fine too.
I'm gone till the 28th.
Oh, so then, yeah. You want to do
So
it before you leave,
before I
otherwise you'll,
go. Yeah, because I am going to bring my Starlink so I don't miss the 20th and the 22nd class.
yeah, so if you can do the recording next week, that would be
Okay.
good. If you need people, if you need somebody to coach, by the way, I have friends of the school that have said that they would do buddy coaching or come in to do, or peer coaching and come in to do other stuff. So,
Yeah. Or
um,
Rita, maybe we could do it. Her and I are partnering up to get ourselves through this course with flying colors. So
With flying colors.
yes.
Yeah.
So her and I, we're meeting on Monday anyways. So we'll figure it out together, and
Okay.
and you can use me for yours, Rita, and away we go.
Thanks.
So we'll get it done. Oh, what's this calendar for mentoring?
That's the link to set up the appointment, the first one-on-one. I'm just gonna make sure I have it marked as available.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
Did you receive my booking, Cheryl?
Oh, I did. When did you book for? Let's see.
27th.
27th. Yeah.
Mm.
So then Christine, you just need to do yours.
Somewhere between the 27th and the 29th.
Yep. Or it can be, yes, 26th and the 29th. Oh no, I don't have any available on the 26th. Yeah, it has to be 27th, 28th, or 29th.
29th it is.
All right.
29th.
The whole day's open except for 12 to 1.
I know, I just also have to look at my work calendar
Hmm.
before I can book anything, because that's I have to be able to say, I'm not working during that period of time. Great.
All right. So again, one-on-ones, the first two will be written observations. The third one is to review your final performance evaluation. You'll get another written from one of your other instructors. And the written for your mentoring comes directly from me, and the evaluation actually is done. The final performance evaluation is done by me and another coach, another mentor coach. So we do it together so that we're giving you the best feedback and the best opportunities. That's how that works. And then once you pass at our school level, then all you need to do is go, once you have the other requirements, which is basically your hours, and you've gotten your certificates, you'll get a level 1 certificate from me. Once you pass the course and the final performance evaluation, you just take that level 1 certificate, you go over to the ICF, you go under level 1 to schedule your final written exam with the ICF. We'll do that prep in our final mentoring class. That's what we do, is prep for that written exam. And then you'll schedule your exam with them. They give you 3 hours to take it. And it's proctored by video. Pearson VUE does it, big company. And they give you 3 hours, and they just extended the break to 10 minutes. It used to be 5 minutes. So now the break is 10 minutes. You get that halfway through. You can't leave for any other reason at any other time. They actually automatically fail you for it. We've had a lot of people complain about, and that's why they increased the time from 5 to 10 minutes. But unless you get some kind of accommodation, which you can apply for, but otherwise that's the bottom line.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Now, Rita,
Yeah.
you already passed your 2 recordings, correct?
Yeah, I got that with the ACTP.
Yeah, I'm still a little confused about that because the ACTP included the written exam, and why they're not including that, unless it's just that it's not the new one.
Mm.
I still don't understand that, but they're telling you that you have to go to the ICF to take the written exam, right?
That's what I could find on a website. I did have the ICF. I did email the lady and I gave her all the certificates. And she did answer me, and now for the life of me, I can't remember what the answer was.
You forwarded that to me, didn't you?
No. That was
Oh,
no, I haven't sent the ICF reply to you. No.
if you want to send me that,
Okay.
I'll have a better, clearer understanding on what
Okay.
you need to do next. But ultimately, you're going to be prepared for the final exam as well.
Mm.
And so if you have to go take it, you'll do that.
Mm. Okay. I will find that email again and look. I think for me personally, I just said to myself, okay, first get this course done, focus, calm down, look at the ICF email later.
Yeah, so you don't even have to look at it, but if you can forward it to me, I can know.
Okay, I will forward it to you like this. I will forward it to you.
Because I don't want to say things that are wrong. I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. So when we're in these mentoring sessions, so yeah, if you can just forward it to me, that would be great.
Okay.
All right. What else? I think that's it. Any questions about that process?
Nope.
No. What is the fee to take the exam?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I knew somebody was going to ask me that. It
And
is.
how do we pay it? Just our credit cards or?
Yeah, when you go to schedule, it's like a cart.
Okay, cool.
You'll have to pay then.
Then
I
I
want
don't
to
really
say
care how much it is, really.
I think it's like 175 or something.
Okay.
Um, let's see. Yeah, level 1. If you're a member, it's 175. Non-members are 325.
Hmm.
Memberships are 250, I think now. So
So we
per
should
year.
become a member then before we even take the exam.
Yep. I mean, you could become a member now if you want. Because you've already
Okay.
completed a program
Oh, I would just have to put the information in for my other.
for WCI. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
Brilliant.
And then, yeah, so then it's usually about, right now, the timeline's about 2 weeks. You're scheduling out 2 weeks for the exam. That can get busier. It could be up to 3 or 4 weeks. But you'll see that, they'll give you the link to actually schedule. So you'll see how far out it is.
Okay. I feel petrified. Absolutely petrified to do the ICF exam.
You won't be. You'll be confident. We're going to prep. We're going to prep for it. You will.
Yeah,
It's not, I mean, it's a different type of test. I don't particularly not excited about how they are doing the test, but it's not terrible.
is it like a what do you call it? Multiple choice? Is it
Excuse me.
written? Is it?
It's multiple choice. But you have, so it's 80 multiple choice questions. And you have to, there's 2 answers for each one. You have to choose the best answer and the worst
Of
answer.
course. Of course. So there's only 2 answers and one of them is going to be the best and one of them is going to be the worst?
No. There's 4. They give you a choice of
Oh,
4.
okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah.
Out of that 4, you have to choose which one's the best and which one's the worst.
Okay.
So,
All
and
right.
you know, with multiple choice, there's usually 1 or 2 that you can eliminate altogether.
Yes.
So it's not that bad.
Okay, that's a little bit easier if it's all multiple choice. There's nothing written?
Mm-mm. All 8 multiple choice
Brilliant.
questions.
Okay, I feel a little better then.
And you only need a 70 to pass.
Really?
Yeah. And nothing shows your score. So it's not like you're like, oh, if I get a 70, like somebody asked me my score or whatever. No, you know what your score is, but it doesn't get, it's not registered anywhere.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, as long as I know what my score is, and then my other question is, when they provide the feedback, are they gonna say what I got wrong so I know what I have to improve on?
No,
Oh, that's
they
not
don't do
very
that
helpful.
because of the proprietary, kind of like me sharing that feedback. They don't want you to know their ins and outs and that kind of stuff. It's like it, you know, so other organizations could pick up things like they don't want to put
I
that out
didn't
there.
know there
So
was other organizations. Isn't ICF the main one that
it is the
everyone
main
knows
one, but
about?
there are other ones. There's one called ICA. Um, and there's a third one. I can't remember the name of that one.
Hmm.
They're smaller, but you just don't know.
Are the other ones international as well?
Hmm. I think they're mostly, the one is the UK and the one is the States.
Yeah,
But,
okay.
you know, again, they're not very big, but it just doesn't matter. Like, you know, you have to be careful of that stuff. And then there's the, you know, the BCC, which is the board
Mhm.
certified coach from the Center for Credentialing and Education. They give an exam as well. So that's just that's the US and Canada, I believe. So yeah. They just, you know, again, it's
Okay.
proprietary information, and so they don't share they don't share your feedback on that, unfortunately. Now, I think
Okay.
at the end, you do know what I think right there on the screen, you can see what you got wrong, but you're not there long enough to do anything with it.
No.
Like the last client that did it, it showed, now they're changing this all the time, by the way, but the last time they did it, she said it showed her, you know, it pops up your score and it listed the number, the number, like the question number, and had whether it was right or wrong, but you can't do anything with it. Like you can't navigate or anything with it.
Because you don't know
So it
what
doesn't
you
really,
don't remember what the questions were.
right. Yeah. It doesn't really help you that much.
Okay.
Mhm.
Alrighty.
Okay.
All right. Um,
Yeah, I'll
all right.
send you
So
this email, but basically it just starts with your education with ICA. You can apply for level 2. That's what
that's all
ICA.
it says.
Right. And then blah 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 blah. This is the link for this. This is the link for this. Blah 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 blah. Right.
Okay. So, I mean, level 2, I mean, it's kind of the same process. It's just with a different education.
Mm.
So I'll talk about that on the next mentoring call. We'll go over that more. Okay. So next week and the week after, you will have Lori as your instructor. And,
Okay.
and then the following week you're off. And then, but I'll see you for your one-on-ones. And then the following week I come back as the instructor, and then Holly takes a couple classes as well. So you're going to see the why I like to do different instructors is because you get to see different perspectives, even though the material is the same. They have different experiences, and so you're going to see different experiences from them. But I, you know, I come back for a few classes in between both of them. And of course, I'm always available to you. You can email me, you can message me on Facebook. If you need anything.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. So for Tuesday, you're gonna read chapter 4. That's your chapter for Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay. Thanks a lot,
Thanks,
guys.
Emma.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Have a
Have a
wonderful
good
rest of your
day.
week and
See
weekend.
you. Whatever. Oh,
Bye-bye.
Tuesday. We'll see you Tuesday.
Not me. You'll see
Yeah.
Lori.
Okay. I don't know. I didn't even know what day it was today.
Oh, yeah. Today's Thursday.
I just got a notification that says I just go by notifications. Be here, be here, be here. Here's your next link. Here's your next link.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Have a
Thank
great
you.
weekend, guys.
Okay,
Talk to you
guys.
later.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.